Hey guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to M4J Logistics here on Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now, last time out, we paid off our loan. Very exciting, monumentous moment. We actually completed enough jobs to be able to pay off our loan. So technically, right now, we are debt-free. Look at that. No debt. And we've got £15,000 in the bank. So, in many ways, I'm a very happy camper. Between last episode and this, I have done some grinding. I think I did like 2 or 3 jobs. It's really hard to just play this game, like have a big window of time where you can just sit down and play this game job after job after job. Normally I have like enough time to squeeze in a quick episode here and there. So to actually get to do sort of 3 jobs in a row, it took me like an hour and a half in the end to do all of that. So, you know, it was kind of good, it was kind of bad. I do enjoy this game though, don't get me wrong. I think it's a very fun game to play. It's just not one that you can... It's not one that I personally could sit down and slog over for hours, but some people do, and that's totally fine. Anyway, today we are going to... In fact, where are we first? That's a good question. Where did I leave us? In Graz. Is it Graz or Graz? I'm going to say Graz. Someone's going to correct me, because someone always corrects me. But we're going to have a look at what jobs we've got in Graz. So let's go from Graz. So we can go up to Salzburg, which is somewhere I don't think we've been before. Actually, that's a really high-paying job. Do you know what? We're just going to do it. It's a high-paying job. Hopefully we don't get shafted by crashes or anything like that. People have asked questions about the game, which I will try and answer momentarily. Stick the truck in forward. Let's get going. Oh, gold. Right, anything coming? Doesn't look like it. Alrighty, so once we've picked up the trailer, how far away is it actually? Oh, it's 8 miles. Never mind. I was going to say once I've picked up the trailer I'll start answering questions, but I might as well start answering now, since we've got the open road ahead of us. There aren't many questions this episode, so I'll try and flesh out the answers a little bit more. But there's some that sort of provoke conversation, so I'll go through those as well. And in fact, if I get my phone up, there was a load of questions that was asked on a very old episode that for some reason the comment didn't appear. Yeah, so I'll answer these as well. So there is a fair amount to get through. So the first question is, I've answered this on stream, on the OpenTTD stream, but I'll answer it now as well because I can put a little bit more detail into it. So, what would be the worst possible job? Let me get the cruise control on so I don't crash. What would be the worst possible job you could get, thinking personally and physically? So, personally, you would hate to be Alex's secretary. If you know what that means, then you'll know why that's funny. And physically, a food taster wouldn't be a good shout for me either. Which, again, if you know why, then you'll find the humour in there. Don't worry. I mean, any job really that involves just sitting at a desk all day, every day. Even though technically that's kind of what I do already, but I try and mix it up. I try and move around. I try and get out as much as possible. Anything where I'm stuck in the same place day in, day out, I would absolutely hate. They're the worst kinds of jobs. I mean, they're the worst kind of jobs in my opinion, I should say, because some people do enjoy that kind of thing. And again, it really is an independent opinion. But personally, I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing. I prefer to be busy. I prefer to be up and about doing things. I really like getting to meet people and talking to them about gaming in general, or XVI or M4J, whatever it might be. So yeah, anything where I'd be stuck doing a monotonous task all the time, I wouldn't enjoy that very much. Alright, freight market. Hopefully that job is still available. Yep. Good. We're going to be rich by the end of this. Rich, I tell you. Oh, and it's right there as well. Alrighty, let's get cracking. So we have got a 5-hour, 4-minute journey ahead of us. Thankfully this game doesn't work in real time, otherwise, oh boy, this would be one of the longest videos I've ever made. But as I said, we've got plenty of questions and topics and stuff to get through. So let's just get up on the freeway. I wish there was a way I could watch the game and Discord at the same time, but sadly at the moment... Oh, it's 30 miles an hour here. Sadly there isn't a way to do that yet. Maybe one day. Get like a HoloLens or something. There we go. Right, 50 miles an hour. Okay. So the next question is it possible to not get paid any money or XP for a job due to a late penalty? Does that mean it's also possible to actually lose XP, meaning your total XP goes down? Thank you for explaining that. I did know what you meant. If so, can you level down due to a loss in your total earned XP? So, if you remember a couple of episodes ago, we actually had that. We didn't lose XP. I think the most XP... Oh, sorry, the least XP you can gain from a job is 0. You can't go into negative numbers. But I think you can get fined. So of course you can lose money on a job. If you get £1,000 for a job and you get fined £2,000, then you're technically £1,000 down. That is, I don't need to change the name. That is very much possible. I don't know if companies themselves fine you for not delivering on time, but the one that we, or I say we, the royal we, the one I mucked up a couple of episodes ago, I didn't get a single penny for that job. So I didn't get fined, I didn't lose any money, but I didn't gain any money, which in itself is a loss. Because then you've got to maintain your truck, you've got to fill up with fuel. So in many ways it does cost you. So technically yes, you can lose money from a job, but not directly. And no, you can't lose XP to my knowledge. You can only flatten out at 0. You don't get penalised. I think that would be a bit harsh if you lost XP for a job. But who knows, maybe it is a thing. Maybe it is a thing and I've just not experienced it yet. Who knows? Right, next question. We all know how much you love your management games. What would you add to Euro Truck Sim 2 to add more depth to that side of the game? I know there's a mod that does this, but I would add like a co-op multiplayer to this part of the game, this version of the game. So if you're the owner of a truck logistics company, you could hire your friend to do jobs for you in the same world. You could actually drive past one another and see one another. Because I know that on World of Trucks you can set up contracts that people can fulfill. But to actually see each other in the same world doing jobs, whilst in your liveried trucks, I think that would be a really cool feature. Maybe Euro Truck 3 would have that. And again, I know there's a mod, don't just say, but Mark, you can do that in the mod. Because the mod is filled with anyone, really, who wants to play on that particular server, and it's not just co-op. I think of games like Saints Row 2, Saints Row 3, Saints Row 4, where you can do like a co-op campaign type thing. I'd like to see something along those lines, for sure. I'd like to see more on the management side of things as well as just hiring and firing staff. Maybe you could do... Actually, I think there might be a training thing. It's hard for me to comment on that side of the game because I've not really experienced it much. I've seen videos, but that's about it. But little adjustments like that to the management. So you might have staff members who are a bit more temperamental. You might have staff members that only want to work at night. Maybe you can set up shifts for your employees. So you can schedule deliveries all through the day and night rather than just whenever they're available. I'm kind of thinking of games like Planet Coaster where you can set up staff schedules. That kind of thing. I think that'd be cool. But they're really bonuses to an already great game. I don't think that we're missing out by not having those features, but I think it would add a lot to the game were those features to be added at some point in the future. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments or in the M4J Logistics chat. Let me know what you guys think. What kind of things would you like to see added to the game? What kind of things would you even like to see removed from the game? Because sometimes there are things that people don't necessarily want, or at least a switch to turn things on and off. Yeah, do let me know. I'm always interested in hearing people's opinions on that kind of thing. What would you like to see in Euro Truck Sim 3? I think I've kind of touched on that already, but yeah, an improved campaign, maybe an actual campaign with a tutorial. So I know this game has a very brief tutorial where you do your first couple of jobs, but maybe like a mentor type figure who runs the company for you at the start, while you sort of learn the ropes. And once you've bought your first truck, you then buy your first garage, that mentor kind of steps aside and then lets you take over the running of the actual business. Something like that, like a helping hand on the shoulder. Plus the multiplayer thing, like I said, maybe up to 4-player co-op in Euro Truck 3. Little features like that, which are again are just bonuses. They don't improve the game necessarily. They just add to what's already there. And you know, I always like when I do these business management games. One of the things I don't like about them a lot of the time is the fact they're single player. So City Skylines, Planet Coaster, you know, I mean Factorio is multiplayer actually, and Satisfactory is as well, which is a game I've been looking at a lot lately. And they're kind of the test bed for what I would like to see in a construction simulation management type game, where you and a friend can actually work together to build things. And OpenTTD is a really good example of how that can work as well, because the M4J network will at one point cross over to multiplayer, and there'll be a lot of really cool ways to kind of implement that in terms of infrastructure sharing, all that good thing. That guy was miles behind me. Why did he drive into the back of me? That is ridiculous. Wow, my truck is getting really frisky by the sounds of it. So this next question is one that I want to talk about regarding potential future series, because I didn't know this game existed until I read this question. I've looked it up, and I cannot believe I didn't know this game existed before I looked it up. It sounds exactly like the kind of thing I would be interested in. So the question is, have you ever checked out the X games? They are space-based games similar to Elite Dangerous, but without multiplayer. I ask because in X4 Foundations, the most recent game, you do not have to take part in combat, but can make a merchant company buying cargo/mining ships, selling and buying goods, merchant fleets, station and factory building, shipbuilding, and lots of almost Factorio type stuff. I need to come off here. All of which sounds a lot like what you have always been into. Too long, didn't read. Hang on, I need to concentrate because my truck needs to slow down. Woo! That was close. I could feel it starting to tip then. I'm trying not to clip the barrier. Too long, didn't read. Have you heard of X4 Foundations, and why the heck don't you play it? Good question. The answer is, I cannot believe I've never heard of it. I'm kicking myself on a daily basis for having not heard of it. I'm currently in the process of checking it out myself. So I'm doing the thing that I wish more people did with my channel, which is you've heard of a game for the first time, you want to see what it's like, test the waters before you commit to buying it. So you check out some YouTube videos of it. So I'm about to start a YouTube series, watching a YouTube series, not making, not yet. I'm about to start watching a YouTube series on X4 Foundations, so stay tuned, because there might be an update regarding potential future series on the channel. But from what I've seen from screenshots and stuff like that, it does look like a neat little game. So, yeah, I'm enticed, I'm intrigued. I want to see for myself whether it's worth it or not. So the next question, would you rather play Factorio or Satisfactory? Both. This is kind of, again, a test of who's been watching my videos over the years. I did a 50 episode run of Factorio last year, which was marginally successful. Some people watched it. I enjoyed the game. The reason the series ended was because it just wasn't getting the views, and it was getting a slog. So I just did the usual thing of, if no one's watching, then clearly people don't want to see it. But I really enjoy Factorio as a game, and I was enjoying playing it with the mods that I was using. So things like the logistic train network. It's exactly like OpenTTD in many respects. You set up a provider and a requester, and then every time something is needed, it sends out, dispatches a train. Much like scheduled dispatch dispatches a train in OpenTTD. They have different parameters for what leads to a train being dispatched. But yeah, overall, really good game. Satisfactory is like a 3D version of Factorio, but it's missing a lot of features. So they've only recently introduced rail and trains, and even then it's like a monorail thing. And they have track switches, but the track itself doesn't switch, which in a 3D game, I always find that disappointing when they don't have track switch animations. It's a complicated thing to do, but the way you could actually do it is have the track be invisible, the track that the actual train interacts with be invisible at that point. So then, yeah, you can clip one into the other and that'd be fine. But for the visual side of it, the bit that we actually see, have a little switch that goes left or right or straight on, depending on what direction it's facing. And then just match that animation to whatever configuration the track's set to. It's all very easy for me to sit here and say that, of course. I don't actually know how much coding that would require. But yeah, it's a game I've had my eye on pretty much since early access. So that was 2 years ago now, I believe. So I've known about it pretty much since day one, and I've been keeping an eye on it. And I'm just waiting for certain things to be added, things like rail signals as well. It is a co-op game. You can play it as multiplayer. If I had someone that I could play it with, then there may even have been some videos already. But if it's something that I'm going to be doing on my own, then I'd like there to be a few more features before I commit to it. But it's getting there. It's looking a lot better. Again, it looked good from the start, but I like these games where the developers have a roadmap and they're very clear about what they want to add to the game. Because some people do commit early then, because they know what's coming in the future. Me personally, a bit like Space Engineers, I like to wait until there's a little bit more substance to it before I fully commit. But yeah, it does look like a good game. I strongly recommend. This is not how you drive around these roads, by the way. I strongly recommend that you guys check it out if you haven't done so already. Wow, this road. Bear with me a second. I need to remind myself what the pause button is. Keys and buttons. Maybe I don't need to, actually. Maybe I don't need to. I just want to get a nice screenshot for the video. So F10 according to this is screenshot. Okay. Again, I don't normally do this, but I'm making an exception. Come on, truck! I'm making an exception because I want to start taking screenshot thumbnails here rather than doing it from the video, because you always get motion blur if you try and capture a frame. Right, so very quickly, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to put handbrake on, and then I'm going to go into outside view. How do I zoom out? Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to zoom out. Yeah, whatever. Alright, we're doing it like this by the looks of it. Okay. Yeah. We'll take one from each side. There we go. There we go. Screenshots taken. Come on. The cruise control's not working. There we go. So yeah, Satisfactory, Factorio, both very good games. Both do very different things depending on what your interests are. They're very, very similar, but very, very different, if that makes sense. And actually, Factorio, I do prefer Factorio's gameplay right now. It just feels a bit more... Sometimes I like freeform, sometimes I like structured. So Planet Coaster, I actually like being quite freeform. OpenTTD, I like being quite structured. Satisfactory is very much freeform. You can build pretty much anywhere. But for those types of games, I like it to be a bit more grid-like. Bit like Factorio. So you can build things... Not symmetrical or anything like that, I'm not interested in that kind of thing. But you can build things in a way where it's efficient. You can make things line up with each other so you're not having to waste materials and all that kind of thing. Which sounds very geeky, very nerdy, but at the same time, if you're designing a factory in real life, that's exactly what you do. You don't put the paint shop at the opposite end to where the body shells are finished. You put them right next to each other. Wow, this is a really windy road. Okay, so that's all the questions that were on Discord. If you have any more, feel free to keep asking. Always looking out for more, especially as right now I'm caught up on videos as well, so I would appreciate some more. So I've got some stuff to talk about in next week's episode. But whilst I'm navigating the slalom here, I've got some comments that were left on a very old OpenTTD video, actually, episode 28. I cannot believe YouTube, I guess because you posted links. The person who's posted this, hopefully you'll know who you are. Please don't post links in the comments, especially if you're talking about other channels, because the auto moderator just blocks them and it doesn't notify me that it's held for review. The only reason I knew it was held for review today is because I got another comment that I had to try and sift through and find. Someone asked me to turn down my commentary, or someone actually said, I can't remember their exact quote. I wish I'd taken a screenshot of the comment now. But the quote was something along the lines of, I hate YouTube videos with commentary over the top. Can you not do that, please? And considering it was a time-lapse of me playing Planet Coaster and me building something and talking about it, how am I meant to tell you guys what I'm doing if I'm not allowed to do a voiceover? And also, YouTube these days, you can actually get flagged for not having a commentary on your video, because that's what distinguishes your video from any other video of that game. Is your voice, your music, your intro, your outro. That's it. So anyone, if I did a video with no commentary, anyone could download that, upload it to their own channel, and try and claim it's theirs. And that is something that happens a lot. There's a lot of opportunists, there's a lot of dicks, basically, who go out and steal people's content like that. And I don't really want to fall victim to that sort of person. So I try and, cover the video with as much of my own stuff as possible, one of which is my voice. So no, I will not remove my commentary. If you don't like it, watch the video on mute. End of. Anyway, because of that person's comment, I found this one. So, swings and roundabouts. Have you ever heard of the site railcam.uk? You can view the live video output from up to 30 cameras and see what trains are passing by the camera in real time. I have had this question on my streams as well, and the answer is I am aware of it. I've seen interviews with the people who run it. It's a very good website if you're a rail enthusiast, especially if you're a train enthusiast. But because I'm only a rail enthusiast, it's not really something... Oh, M4J driver's getting tired. It's not really something that I'm interested in personally, but I will always give it a shout out, because I think if your interests lie in that area, then it's perfect for you. So do check it out, railcam.uk. Is it railcam.co.uk by any chance? I don't think .uk is a valid thing. Probably is. I don't know. You can just Google Railcam anyway, I'm sure you'll find it. I normally would post links myself, but it's not really relevant to this series. But I might do it on OpenTTD in the future, just if people do want to check it out. I think it's only fair. Alright, are we delivering to a quarry again? Oh boy. Come on, cruise control. There we go. Alright, so the next question. Have you ever played Parkitect? I have already answered that question as well. Did you know that there is a flight from Westray to Papa Westray that takes as little as 1 to 2 minutes and whose distance isn't even enough to allow takeoff of some of the largest aircraft? Yep, I'm aware of it. Fully aware of it. I've seen lots of videos of it. I've seen lots of these "you'll never guess what I found when I went to Scotland" type videos. I believe it's in Scotland. I might be wrong. Might be in Ireland, actually. But yeah, I'm very well aware of it. I've seen all the jokes of it as well. And again, please don't post links to YouTube videos in the comments, because it will just get your comment flagged. And that's not me doing it, by the way. That is the auto moderation feature on YouTube. It flags comments that have links posted. Have you ever ridden a London cable car crossing the Thames? I have not. I have seen them. I've been to both the Millennium Dome, or the O2 Arena as it's now called, as well as Victoria Docks, which is where both ends of the cable car are. I've stood and watched it. I have not yet been on it. I would like to, though. I would like to. And the next question to do with that is, have you ever ridden the London Eye? And the answer is yes, I have. About 10 times I think I've been on the London Eye. It's a lot. I have been on the London Eye a lot. Probably more than any tourist should or ever would go on the London Eye. But it's very, very good. It is very good. You get to see lots of London that you wouldn't otherwise know exist. And you also get to see out into the surrounding countryside. One of the things I used to do as a kid, this isn't the London Eye, but it doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but at Chesington there used to be a big observation wheel called Peaking Heights, and from that you could pretty much see right across London. And the London Eye is that, but bigger, essentially. It's very, very good as well. I strongly recommend, if you are a Merlin annual pass holder, I believe it still falls under that, you can get discount or free trips to the London Eye. So if you are one of those people, do check it out. I promise you will not regret it. So we do have some more questions. I will answer them, in fact, because I think I'm going to do another job. We've only done, what, 24 minutes so far? So I'm going to see if we... Actually, no, before I do that, I'm going to sleep. because my guy is tired. And then I'll see if there are any other deliveries coming out of here. So there is a sleeping spot according to the map. Is it here? Ooh! Did I just drift in a truck? Come on, game. Surely I'm in it. There we go. Handbrake on. There we go. Right, so the next question. Before university, where did you attend elementary, middle, and high school, or British equivalent? So in the UK... Oh, didn't mean to sleep twice. Oh well, it's midday again. So we might as well check what deliveries this company has while we're here. So yeah, in the UK, we have nursery school, which is sort of ages 2 to 4. I think 2's a little young, actually, maybe 3 to 4. I think I was there for 2 years. And then you have primary school. I did take the handbrake off, didn't I? Yeah. Then you've got primary school, which is ages 4 to 10/11. And then you've got secondary school, which is ages 10/11 to... It used to be 16, but I think now it's mandatory that you do sixth form. So it's 18 now when you leave. Or you could do what I did, which is 1 year of A-level. So I left at A-level when I was 17, went to college for 2 years, and then went to university. I will not tell you their names, because why would you want to know their exact names, for a start? Where am I? I'm in Salzburg. Oh, why am I scrolling up and down on Discord? That's weird. Ugh, everything's weird. Alright, let's do Salzburg to Vienna. Actually, no, let's do Salzburg to Salzburg, just for fun. We'll do that. So I need to go back down the slope. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you the name of my schools. Not yet. Because, first of all, I think it's a bit creepy, in all honesty. Second of all, I still live quite close to my old schools. So I don't really want people, you know, coming around trying to see where I went to school or anything like that. The only one I do talk about is the University of Hertfordshire. Because, you know, it's a very good university. I think the least I can do is give it a shout out here and there. But everything else, I don't like to talk about, if that's okay. Because, you know, everyone... I'm not saying people will do this, by the way, because chances are no one really cares. No one wants to fly halfway around the world just to see where M4J went to school. But occasionally you do get people who don't necessarily know that it's not right to go stalking people and see where they live and things like that. So it's just personal protection, really. It might sound a bit dumb, but hopefully you guys understand. So this next one, I'm going to sound like a bit of a smart ass because I do know what you're talking about, and I actually know one of the first steam locomotives. I know what it is. So the question is, did you know that Stephenson's rocket was not the first steam locomotive or engine ever built? Yes. Yes, I did know that. So James Watt invented the steam engine, or at least he invented what we now refer to as the steam engine. But pretty much all of his designs were static. They were used for pumping water out of mine shafts and things like that. It was only when Richard Trevithick, very, very clever man from Cornwall, he took that idea, turned the boiler sideways. So most boilers were vertical. He made a horizontal... In fact, I think the first one he did was still a vertical boiler. But anyway, he put a boiler on wheels. I can't go that way, can I? I have to go this way. He put a boiler on wheels and created a steam locomotive. And I'm trying to remember what it was called. I've seen photos of it. It's basically, he built a big circle of track, and he also built steam-powered cars. So he had cars that would take people for rides, and then he had a big circle of track with people standing in the middle, and he would drive his steam locomotive around the outside. Do you know what? I actually remembered the name until about 30 seconds ago, and I've completely forgotten what his steam locomotive was called. I might have to Google it. Bear with me. Handbrake on. That's really annoying. But yes, I am aware of Richard Trevithick. The Stevensons were quite late to the game in many respects. Wasn't it like Catch Me If You Can or something? Is that what it was called? Wikipedia is my friend. Oh, he made the Puffing Devil. Yeah, Catch Me Who Can. Catch Me Who Can was one of the names. I think that was kind of like the first public prototype, but he did make other ones before that. And he made some others after that. I think he had an accident on one of them as well. Didn't one of the boilers explode or something? But yeah, the Stevensons were very late to the game. And actually, if you know the story of Rocket, you'll know that it was completely by mistake. So when the Liverpool to Manchester line was completed, they wanted to hold the trials to see which locomotives would be suitable to actually operate the line. And it was kind of like a last-minute thought. George Stephenson, in fact, said to Robert Stephenson, we should enter something as well, see what you can come up with. And he had like no time at all really to come up with an idea, but they created the Rocket. The Rocket was meant to be there just as a kind of like filler, but because some of the other locos kept breaking down, they kept sending the Rocket out to run trains just to keep the public entertained. And that's why it kind of got this celebrity legend status, because it was the one that people saw the most. And then it was also, by the end of it, it was last man standing pretty much. So it wasn't the fastest, it wasn't the strongest, but it was the most efficient. It was the one that ran throughout pretty much the entirety of the trials, and that's why we know about it now. But yeah, there were plenty of steam locomotives before, and the fact that it was built after all the other entries into the was it the Rainhill or Rainham? I think it was Rainhill. I can't remember that. It's Rainhill or Rainham. Someone will tell me. Someone always tells me. But yeah, the fact that it was the last out of all of the trial locomotives to be built already tells you that it wasn't the first. But yeah, Richard Trevithick, I believe, was the first to actually put a steam locomotive on wheels, full stop, but also on rails. Do you know of any modern full-scale steam locomotives in service in real life today? Now, I'm going to assume this isn't a worldwide known thing. So to use the word modern would suggest that you are not referring to a locomotive that was built back in the 1960s, for example, but one that has been built quite recently. I've seen plans over the years for nuclear-powered steam locomotives. And in fact, in OpenTTD, there is a prototype version of that which you can use. I think it's called it's not called the Jet, I don't think, but it's a 150 mile per hour steam locomotive. That is kind of inspired by these plans, I would assume. But in terms of actual modern built steam locomotives, there is one in the UK. In fact, there's several at the moment. There's lots of new build projects going on at the moment, but the most sort of well known of those that has actually been completed is Tornado, which is an A1 Pacific. I think it was completed in 2008. I know it had a 10-year anniversary recently. It took a long time for them to build it. I think it took 30 years from start to finish, which is a very, very, very long time. But it's a magnificent looking locomotive. It is fantastic to look at. I've never seen it live, unfortunately, but I've seen so many videos of it. And when it's in its apple green livery, it is beautiful. And the fact that they've paired it, they've not run trains with Flying Scotsman yet, but they've put them side by side. They really go together very, very well. So maybe if Rail Tour in the future will have them double head, who knows? But it's a good example of how steam locomotives can still be relevant today. A lot of money was raised for that project, and in fact they're currently building, because it's the A1 Trust who own Tornado, and they're currently building a P2, I think it is, which I think is also a Gresley. Actually, no, it's a Peppercorn design. Thinking about it, because so's Tornado. It's an A1 Peppercorn. But yeah, that kind of inspired a lot of new build projects. I think that was also really the catalyst for getting Flying Scotsman back on the rails, was seeing the fact that Tornado was built from nothing to where it is now. So why not get Flying Scotsman back up and running? But yeah, there's a lot of Great Western locomotives currently being new built or converted from existing locos. There's a lot of LNER and Great Northern Railway inspired designs. So we're probably going to see more new builds in the future than we are existing locos, which I'm not sure is a good thing or not. But I mean, as I said, it shows that it's all still relevant, so it can't be an entirely bad thing. What is my favourite railway museum? I do like the National Railway Museum in York. That's always a nice one to go to. I've been to it a couple of times. There's a really great museum because I'm a big fan of the Great Western Railway. I love Brunel. I love Daniel Gooch. You know, pretty much they're the only big names that I can recall off the top of my head. But anyone who was involved in the Great Western Railway throughout the years. Oh, Churchwood as well, of course, and Collett. I know some people get a bit sneery about locomotive designers, but at the end of the day, I think they were all good. They all did their jobs. They all built locos that we still remember today. And there's a great museum in Swindon called Steam, which is actually, there's a shopping centre built in the old Great Western sheds and loco building facilities at Swindon. And one of the old buildings was converted into a railway museum called Steam. And it's very, very good. It tells the story of the Great Western Railway from start to modern day. And it's got real locos in there. They change the lineup every so often. They got real exhibits in there. There's a simulator in there as well, I believe, the last time I was there, which was a long time ago, to be fair. But I believe it's still there. And it's a great way to learn. There's a lot of history there. You've also got things like the Science Museum in London that has a section devoted to transport. It has, I think it's Firefly is in there, or a replica of Firefly. And I think there's another loco as well, but again, it's been like 6 years since I last went there, so I'm trying to recall off the top of my head. So there's lots of railway museums all around the UK. I strongly suggest if you see one, visit it. You will learn a lot, and you'll help them out a lot as well. And the last question of the stream, I'm in that mode. The last question of the video is, what is your favourite steam locomotive? The answer for me is probably a pannier tank. No specific one. All the different variations. The only ones I don't like are the ones where the boiler protrudes from the tanks, because it looks a bit like, you know, when you see someone hunch forward and then like their neck sticks out. That's what I think those ones look like. But conventional pannier tanks, I think they're quite quirky. They're not the best looking, but they're really quirky, and there's so many of them. They're in absolute abundance, and they're just typical Great Western. If any Great Western Preserved Railway that you go to will have a pannier tank somewhere, and that's why it's my favourite. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up the video here, guys. So I think next week will be a week off. I don't think there'll be a video next week, because I'm planning on taking a week off from recording all videos. So all the other series I've already pre-recorded footage, and this one I haven't been able to. So there may or may not be a video. I will tweet in advance so you guys know. But feel free to keep asking your questions on the Q&A channel on Discord. Link should be in the description. If it isn't, let me know and I'll add it. And besides that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series, drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes. Tell me what trucks you'd like to see me drive, what countries you'd like to see me drive in, what deliveries you'd like to see me do. I'll try and fulfill those requests as well if possible. Besides that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support, and until next time, I will see you soon.